Okay. Okay, this conference is being recorded. Okay, so I will I will share the recording of this conference via our YouTube channel. So I will publish in YouTube, and then I will share the URL to all of you. Okay, to all the presenters actually. So all of you have received our little handbook, I believe. And in the list of presenters, I think I have around 11 or 12 presenters that have registered in this conference. But as of probably 12 o'clock, today I only have 6 confirmation. Okay, so Amizan, Alifa, and Miss Wong Daidi, and then Dr. Let me check. Dr. Muhammad Khaizir from UPM, and then the other one, Dr. Azia. Yes, Dr. Muhammad Khaizir and Dr. Azia from UPM, and Tasnim Rahmatullah from USIM, University Science Islam Malaysia in Nilai, Negeri Sembilan. The remaining 3 have not signed in yet. So, okay, if we wait another 5 minutes, yeah, we wait for another 5 minutes for them to join. The rest, either they did not respond. I think 2 of them did not respond at all to my message, whether they are joining the conference or not. The other 4, they have changed their registration status as a video presenter. So they will submit their pre-recorded video to us, and we will publish their video in our YouTube channel as well. So they opt for that alternative. All right. So for you who who have signed up for this one and joined in this conference, I welcome you all. This is a good opportunity for us to exchange ideas, you know, through our what we thought, what we have in our mind, share what we thought about our ideas to the other participants. Okay, so this is going to be, to me, it's not formal, but it's more on the informal kind of discussion. All right, so don't worry, just say if you have something to say, just say it out. All right. So don't worry if the presenter is a doctor or is an associate professor, is a professor, it does not matter, okay? Here, everybody is on the equal footing. Okay, so while we are waiting for them, I think I will start with my little presentation. So I will share with you my, I will present based on the handbook that I provided you earlier, right? So just a clarification on those, and if you have questions, then you can straight away ask me the question so that I can answer correspondingly. Okay. Okay, let me share my screen. All right. Okay, can you see my screen? Great, thank you. Okay, so this conference is called ICMRES2022. This conference is supposed to be physically held in Langkawi at Bayview Hotel, our normal venue when we have our conference in Langkawi. Unfortunately, we did not receive enough numbers, okay, to host a physical conference face to face. I've received only 3 confirmation. Okay, for us to be able to hold a physical face to face conference, I need to have okay, another one coming in. All right, let me proceed. Okay, so we did not have our physical face-to-face conference. Okay, But instead we will proceed with this virtual conference, and also we still continue receiving the presenter as a video presenter, that you can submit your pre-recorded video, and then we will publish in our YouTube channel. Correspondingly, all of you will be receiving the certificate. Okay. Hello, Dr. Muhammad Kaiser. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Assalamualaikum. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you very much. Okay. So I've just started a bit, so you don't miss much anyway. So allow me to proceed.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Yeah,
So
sure.
our plan for today is just this way. You all sign in. Basically, we consider you registered to this conference based on the invitation URL that we provided to you over the email. I will have a short briefing about this conference. I expected to finish this around 2:15, and then we will immediately commence with the presentation session. Okay. After that, we will have a short Q&A if we have, and then we expect to finish around 17 hours. For 6 presenters, I estimate maybe about 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. You know, from 2:15, we should be finishing around 4:30, maybe latest 5 o'clock. Okay. Okay, this is the initial list that I have until 12 p.m. yesterday. However, only the highlighted yellow ones are able to confirm their attendance to join our virtual conference today. So we have Alifa from UMT Kuala Nerus Terengganu. We have Dr. Muhammad Kaiser just joined, and then Amizan from UKM, Dr. Muhammad Kaiser from UPM, Miss Wang Daidi from UPM, and one more, Dr. Azia has not signed in yet. Okay, so it's okay. We will proceed while we waiting for her to sign up. Okay. And then Tasnim from USIM Nilai is also with us. All right. The rest were not able to join this virtual conference. So as a rule of thumb, each of you will be allocated between 10 to 12 minutes of your presentation. However, you know, because we have only probably 6 presenters, we may have the liberty of probably extending. Some of you may want to have a longer presentation, but not too long, maybe maximum around 15 minutes. Okay, maximum 15 minutes. Okay, so the basic structure of your presentation is very basic also, just like how you do your research paper. Just a little bit introduction, and then the background, or based on your literature review, the background of your study or of your research, and then your data analysis if you have. Otherwise, you will discuss about your theoretical framework, and then discussing about your finding, and then finally your conclusion. If you divide that 4 or 5 part, probably you come with around probably 3 or 4 minutes for each of those section. Okay, so only those structure: introduction, background, data analysis, discussion of your finding, and also conclusion, where you move from here, what was your conclusion of the finding, and then you know, opportunity for future research if you have, and so on. Okay, so after this conference, what is next actually for you? Okay, as a participant to this conference. All right, so what next you expect is basically 3 things. Okay, the certificate, the conference certificate, the video publication in YouTube. For you is basically the video of this whole virtual conference. Okay, and then the publication of your paper in the proceeding, and publication of your paper also in our referee journal. Okay, so these are the 3 or 4 things that will be happening subsequent to the completion of this conference. And then the certificate I mentioned just now, you will all receive the certificate, including your co-authors that you mentioned in your papers. Okay, so all co-author, if you have only one author yourself, then only you receive the certificate. If you have 3, 5, 7, each of them will receive a certificate. Okay, the certificate look like this one, more or less. And those who have participated in our conference as video presenter, so their pre-recorded video will be published in YouTube and may look like this. Okay, so you will be given the URL so that you can access your video in our YouTube. All right. So here is actually sorry
to interrupt. We couldn't somehow the slide for the certificate.
The spec for certificate.
The certificate on the screen, it didn't appear. Yeah.
What did not appear in your screen?
Yes, mine. I do not know others.
Sorry, sorry about that. Okay, now you see.
Okay. Yes.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
2 screens actually. So when I move one screen, the other doesn't move. So I have to check both screen now. Okay. So the screen looks something like this. Okay. The certificate looks like this, and then this is the name of the company, and then title, and then the logo of the conference. Okay, the logo of the conference, and then your name. In this case is as a listener, but if you are a presenter, convert to you your name as presenter. There's a statement there as a presenter for your participation in this particular conference. Okay, the date and also the location. All right. So coming back to the YouTube video, so under description here is actually your abstract of your paper will be posted in the description of your video here. All right. So once you receive the URL, you might want to inform your friend, you want to let know your colleague and so on that you have this video. Maybe they want to comment. Many participants, especially the foreign participant from Bangladesh or from Indonesia, they like to do that. You know, they publish and then they let their friends and colleagues know. So many of them actually put comment, encouraging comment, you know, some comment to improve, you know, the presentation and so on, which is nice. Okay. And then the publication. Okay. The publication is, there are three parts as far as publication is concerned. One is the publication in conference proceeding. Okay, so this publication in conference proceeding is included with the ISBN number. All right, and then publication in referee journal, and then we also, during our review, we will select few papers from those papers, from all papers that submitted to our conference. We will select maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 if we find that those papers are meeting the merits or the criteria to be published in high index journal. Then we will select that and then inform the author if they like to publish that paper or their paper in our case, we are now publishing in Scopus, few Scopus journal that we have. So they will have to agree. If they agree, then we can proceed. Otherwise, we will just publish in our referee journal. So in the case where the author agreed to accept the publication in Scopus, the paper will not be published in our referee journal to make sure that we maintain the sanity of the paper. We do not have the issue of we do not have the issue of similarity index in so-called. Okay, So the timeline roughly is within 1 month for the proceeding, within 1 to 3 months for publication in our referred journal, within 3 to 6 months for publication in Scopus. Okay, so 1 to 3 month referred journal is depending on when the conference is held. For example, this conference ICMRES2022 is held on 29th of January. So we have also mentioned in our conference website that all of our journal publish 4 times a year. Yeah, 4 times a year. In March, in June, in September, and also in December. So in this case, it is late of January. We have time basically to publish your paper for March 2022 issue. So we have a lot of time actually. So no issue with that. But the issue normally will arise for those papers that reach our conference toward the end of February, for instance, or beginning of March. Okay, some author want, even though we have the conference in March, they say, can you publish my paper in March 2022 issue as well? We can also do that, but we must make sure that all the papers do not, they have finalized the paper basically, so-called, that they do not make any more changes or revision to the paper. Then we can help to publish within the same month. Okay, so publication in the conference proceeding book will be the conference proceeding book will be published in the PDF format. Okay, so some author also they notify us, they make also some changes before we publish in the proceeding. provided they submit the revised copy within the deadline that we provided to them. And more often than not, what the author submitted in our conference will be published in the proceeding book as is, okay, without any changes. So normally we publish that within 2 weeks, okay. But then again, depending on the submission of the full paper by the authors. You know, some participants they register, and then they, for example, they join this conference as a virtual presenter, but they have not published, they have not submitted the full paper yet. You know, they have not submitted the full paper yet. Okay, so some cases they submit a week later. So if that is the case, that probably will maybe delay the publication of our proceeding book in situation like that. And another thing is this proceeding book is published in PDF format, in hard copy, not hard copy really, but it is in the PDF electronic format. Okay, it is not online because the same paper in all likelihood will be published in our journal, okay, which is online. So if we have the proceeding in online mode, and then journal is also online, we may have the issue of a very high similarity index. Okay, so to avoid that, we do this way. Your conference proceeding, your paper is in PDF format, while the conference, while the journal, the referee journal is online. Okay, just to avoid that high similarity index issue. Okay, so all journals are indexed by Malaysian Citation Center ataupun Pusat Citasi Malaysia, provided with the EISSN number and cover various discipline. You see this in the list of our journal in the conference website as well. Okay, so we have journal related to education and pedagogy, business and economy, accounting and finance, social science, and then technology management and information system, engineering journal, and also another journal which is related to social science, because we receive many papers in the social science discipline. Okay, our journal, just to let you know, index in my journal, not yet index in my site, because some participant make inquiries about whether this journal is indexed in my site. Not yet, because we have not met the criteria of minimum 3 years our journal in publication. I start publishing our journal in June 2019. Okay, so we expect this June 2022 to have at least some of this, at least out of 7, to be indexed by my site. Yeah. Publication in high index journal, I mentioned earlier that this will be within 3 to 6 months, and then in next 2 to 4 weeks, our reviewer will review the paper. Like I mentioned, if they have the merit for Scopus publication, authors will be notified. Okay, and then if they get to publish, there will be a separate invoice, because publication in Scopus have a separate publication fee. Okay, so all papers except the one that are Scopus bound will be published in reference journals according to the research area of the paper. Okay, when you register with us, you mention the research area of your paper, right? Whether it is a social science, whether it is health, whether it is engineering, and so on. So the journal that we will publish your paper will depend on the research area of your paper. And then, okay, these are the 2 journals, Scopus journal, that currently I have relationship with our editor partner. Yeah, one is called JMIDS. This is a Q2 journal. The other one is JLERI, or Journal of Legal, Ethical, and Regulatory Issues, also Q2. Okay, so if any of your paper, but that is also depend on our reviewers, that can fall in this any one of this category, and we think that your paper is meeting all the merits, then we will inform you. We'll inform the authors. Okay. Okay, so these are the journal of the Scopus journal that I mentioned just now. JMIDS and also JLERI. Both are Q2 Scopus index journal. All right. So in summary, for publication, again, we will publish your paper in proceeding. That is within 1 month, our commitment, but normally we can finish that within 2 weeks. Okay. And then second, publication of your paper in our reference journal. I mentioned the 7 journal that I highlighted earlier. Your paper will be published in any one of those journals. Okay. And then publication in Scopus Index. If your paper is selected for Scopus, you will receive an email from us within 2 to 4 weeks from today. Okay. And then your submission, all papers must be in Microsoft Word. I noticed a few participants submit the papers in PDF. So we have to request you to resubmit the paper in Microsoft Word, because when we edit the proceeding book, we need to edit also the format of the paper a little bit. So if you put in the PDF, we are not able to edit the paper, right? We have to change the page number and so on. Okay, we have to sort all your papers in ascending order in that sequence. All right. So, and then all communications via email between us, the conference organizer, and you, author and participants, the email must be valid. Some of us have problem basically to communicate via the email, because the email provided is not valid. Okay. Some email actually is very controlled by the server provider, especially when the email is institution-based, university-based. Okay, we cannot send a large file more than 6 megabyte or 10 megabyte because the certificate can be large also, can be taking more than 10 megabyte. If the author is probably 5, 6, or 7, okay. Also video for that instant. Okay. And the next one is I'm just sharing with you our upcoming conferences up to April 23rd, 2022. Okay. So the highlighted green here is our conference today. The next one we'll have is the middle of next month, end of next month, middle of March, end of March, and then we also have one in April on the 23rd, a week before Hari Raya. Okay, April 23rd is actually a fasting month for Muslim, okay? So we still have the virtual conference and also video presentation if you choose for video presentation, except that we will not have any physical face-to-face conference for this Bytes 2022, okay? Still, you can sign up for virtual conference on 23rd April 2022, okay, a week before Raya. May, June, July, and onward, we have not actually published that online yet. So we will probably publish towards the end of, toward middle of next month, yeah? So with that, thank you very much for listening. Do you have any questions? Any question?
Oh, I don't have.
Yeah.
Clear, Dr. Shafi'i. Okay.
Clear. Thank you very much. Alifa, do you have any question?
No, thank you, Doctor.
Yes, I have one question, Dr. Safai.
Go on, Ms. Wong.
Yeah, Dr. Safai, I would like to ask if I want to publish 2 papers, means I have to join 2 conference, is it?
No. You, for instance, if you now join a conference, you have registered your name, you can actually upload 2 papers. Okay. But okay, the fee is based on the paper. If you have 2 papers, the fee will be double. Okay. If you have 3 papers, the fee will be triple, but 3 papers will receive discount.
Oh,
Okay, discount is given for 3 or more.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I receive in our next conference, I think if I'm not mistaken, it is best. On 12 February, I receive an inquiry from the Philippines, where he has a student more than 10. He has probably 12 students who want to send their papers. So he asked about the discount. Okay, we say 3 papers, we receive 10% discount. 3 to 10, we receive 10. More than 10, we receive 20% discount for each of the paper. 20% is a lot actually, especially in US dollars. Because foreign participation, they have to pay in US dollars. Imagine if it is 140 US dollars, 120 US dollars, 20% that is 24 US dollars. It is more than 100 ringgit actually for us. Okay. So if you have more than 2 in our future conference, you try to get your friend so that you are in a group. Okay. Encourage your friend to submit the paper together with you, so you can enjoy the group discount. That's a way actually for us to encourage people actually to submit the paper to us actually. All right. Any question? I have not welcomed Dr. Azia. Dr. Azia, can you hear me? Hello. Okay, Dr. Azia is probably not at the place right now, but that is okay. Okay, so I'll come back to the presentation schedule just now. Okay. According to our schedule here, the first one who should be presenting is Alifa, then followed by Dr. Muhammad Kaiser, and then Amizan, and then Ms. Wong Daidi, and then Dr. Azia, And last but not least is Tasnim. Okay. So can we start now?
Yes, yes.
Everybody okay?
Okay,
So
Doctor. Okay.
Alifa, are you ready?
Okay.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, if you are ready, then I will unshare my screen. Yeah.
Okay.
I will stop sharing mine. Let me. Okay, stop sharing mine. And then, okay, you can actually share yours, Alifa.
Okay, I will share my presentation.
Oh, Dr. Azia don't have the microphone actually. So she can hear us, but we cannot hear her. Okay.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes.
But if you can put that into presentation mode, that is better. Yeah, like this. Okay. All right. You may take the floor now, Alifa.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to all participants in the third International Conference in Multi-Disciplinary Research 2022. Hello, I am Alifa Husnul Horiko, a student at Institute of Marine Biotechnology, University Malaysia Terengganu. In this great opportunity, I'm going to present to you about my research with my supervisor, which is the identification of chemical constituents in methanolic extract of Pandanus tectorius fruit. This is some result of my preliminary study of my research. And first of all, let me briefly explain to you about Pandanus tectorius. Pandanus tectorius is from Pandanaceae family or screw pine family. The main uses of this fruit is for food, and the leaves is for weaving and thatch. And for the main agroforestry use, people use this for coastal protection, windbreak, and home garden. And the distribution of this tree is in the Pacific Island and part of Southeast Asia and Northern Australia. About 700 species may be distributed in the worldwide in subtropical and tropical regions, including Malaysia and Indonesia.
What is the local name for this Pandanus tectorius?
Buah pandan laut.
Aha. Can this fruit be eaten or something?
Yeah, this fruit can be eaten. It has a sweet taste.
Oh, does it sweet? Does it taste sweet or sour or?
It has a sweet taste.
Okay, all right.
Okay. And macronutrients in Pandanus tectorius fruit are dominated by carbohydrate, crude fiber, and protein. Besides that, the fruit also contains some micronutrients such as beta-carotene, vitamin C, and vitamin E. And for secondary metabolites in the fruit have many bioactivities such as antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and anti-diabetic. So the fruit has potential to be processed into various food products, but it is wasted and still not utilized, either as a source of food or as well as for the research. Pandanus tectorius fruit is a source of phenolic and flavonoid compound rich by caveoliquinic acid, isopentenyl, dimethyl allyl acetates, and cinnamate, and also tangeritin and trans-ethyl caffeine. The fruit is also believed to reduce heart disease and cholesterol level. Two isolated compounds from Pandanus tectorius, which are tangeritin and trans-ethyl caffeine, show very good activity to inhibit the activity of HMGCR enzyme in vivo and in vivo. That is an enzyme to reduce cholesterol level in body. And the methodology for my research, the first is preparation. This is the picture of the fruit. The fruit are collected and washed. The key part, this part, cut into small pieces, freeze-dried and grinded into powder. And then the key powder were extracted using methanol by maceration method. Then the solvent, which is methanol, were evaporated. And for the analysis of the crude extract by GCMS method, the crude extract were dissolved in methanol and analyzed by gas chromatography, mass spectroscopy. And this is the result of GCMS analysis. There are 7 compounds in fruit, main compound in fruit. Some of them has bioactivity and functions, such as methyl hexadecanoate. This compound is a methyl ester of hexadecanoic acid that has antifungal potentials and found to be highly effective at 10 and 15 mg per milliliter concentration for Alternaria solani, Aspergillus erythrocephalus fumigatus, and Penicillium chrysogenum. The Alternaria solani is a fungal pathogen that produces distinctive bull's eye pattern in leaves. And for Aspergillus erythrocephalus fumigatus is a fungal infection in immunosuppressed individuals, primarily caused invasive infection in the lung. And Penicillium chrysogenum is a causative agent of necrotizing esophagitis, endophthalmitis, keratosis, and asthma. And the second compound is methyl oleate. Methyl oleate is a methyl ester of allylic acid that can be used as starting material of monomer and polymer for adhesive. It can also be used as primary carbon sources and as an alternative inducer for the production of an extracellular lipase with 2 in Yarrowia lipolytica strain. Adding methyl oleate to an heptanol could be used as renewable fuel. And the third compound is methyl halide. Methyl halide is one isomer from methyl oleate that has anti-cancer activity. In silico study or computational study of methyl halide showed that it is bound with BEX and MDM2 at their active sites that can trigger apoptosis in cancer cells. Drug likeness of methyl halide according the rule of 5 atau Orlitinsky rule displayed that methyl halide didn't violate more than one of the rules, suggesting that it could be suitable for oral administration. And this 3 compound is the main compound in methanolic extract of pandanus fruit that has bioactivity. So, the Pandanus nectarius fruit has been proved to have many functions and bioactivities. Besides that, it is edible with a sweet taste. And for further study of bioactivities of chemical constituent in Pandanus nectarius fruit could be explored, especially for mechanism action of its compound in preventing any disease. In my research, I will do some bioactivity study of Pandanus nectarius fruit extract as a drug, and modification in self-nanoemulsification drug delivery system. So there is a short presentation from me. Thank you. Maybe we will discuss more in the next question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you, Alifa. Okay, the rest of you, do you have any question for this presentation by Alifa? But Alifa, do you know that if this plant is somehow farmed at in a greater scale, so-called, or it's just for garden, showcase and wild plantation along the shoreline, people actually, planting this particular fruit for, for basic needs or for commercial use?
This fruit is there is some people use this fruit as a home garden. They plant it in her home garden, or you can find it in coastal area.
Right. So
There's no farm of this fruit.
do you know why actually people or community are not so-called interested to farm this, if this probably has the potential, right?
Yeah, the research of this plant is new. So
I see.
for the last 5 years or 3 years, so there is no many people that now this fruit especially can be eaten.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I think not many people actually know the existence of this particular fruit.
Yeah.
Except for those who are who are the, who love gardening. They like to go to the nurseries. Probably they can find, this particular plant in the nurseries somewhere.
Yes.
But planting this on a commercial scale, on a larger scale, I think is not there yet. I don't know, not in Malaysia probably, but I don't know about other countries, whether they have planted this in a larger scale for commercial purpose.
No, there is no other countries that plant this as a commercial scale.
Interesting, very interesting. Yes. So if it has got potential, what is the main potential? You just mentioned about many of the bio benefit that can be extracted from this particular plant. But the main one actually, what can it produce actually? What can it use for?
I plan to do a test for this fruit extract for S and atherosclerosis. For the inhibition of SMGCR coenzyme that can. Hello. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So, the fruit has a potential to reduce cholesterol level. So, in the future, I will undergo the test about that.
I see. I think that is very good because many people, Malaysians, are having problem with cholesterol level.
Yeah.
That is very inherent.
Almost 50%.
Yes, inherent in local population in Malaysia, especially we have issue with high carbohydrate intake, and as a result, our the level of the upper is very high. So if we can actually use this to extract and then use this as a supplementary food to reduce the that will be of great benefit to the society. So is there any question? Only me, I'm asking a lot of questions to you. No questions? No other question? Okay, probably you can save the question later when we discuss in the Q&A session if we have, all right? So thank you very much, Alifa. Very interesting. Okay, I also come to know first time in my life. I'm not a keen gardener anyway, so I don't know the existence of this fruit or this plant earlier. It's good for you to bring it up. I hope this can be turned into a bigger project. Maybe some organization, maybe the government, especially the agriculture minister, probably take an interest, try to actually plant this at a greater scale, in a bigger scale, to bring more benefit to us as human. Okay, so thank you very much, Alifa, for your presentation. It is a good presentation.
Thank you.
I hope you actually at this paper or this research can be expanded a lot, in many areas.
Yeah.
You can actually write many more papers about this. You can actually. There are a lot of potential for you to write many research papers on this one. Okay.
Okay. Then.
All right. So thank you very much. I would like to call upon the next one. The next one is Dr. Muhammad Khaizir. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. Please take over the floor.
Okay, first of all, can all of you see the screen? The presentation
Yes,
slide?
yes.
Yes, Doctor.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much to Mr. Moderator, Dr. Shafai. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon, everyone. Respective speakers and fellow members of the screen. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Khaizir Omar. I'm from the Department of Science and Technical Education, Faculty of Educational Studies, University Putra, Malaysia. And my area of interest is on technical and vocational education and training, which popularly known by TVET. This is part of my research grant, in which I conduct research using a mixed methods approach. And for today's presentation, I would like to share with all of you regarding the data, the findings from the qualitative part. So the title of my presentation is "Can we get hired?" So I would like to, voice out the concern of the group of people with disability. With the research area is on employability skills development. So the title is Employability Skills Acquisition during educational experience of students with disability. All right. Okay. So the points of discussion for my presentation, I will cover introduction, research objective, methodology, findings, discussion, conclusion, and I would like also to state the acknowledgement to the respective parties who give a fund for my research project. So this is a very important note that 15% of the global population live with some form of disability. This information was published by the World Bank in 2021. It's very recent findings. And according to United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, a proportion of only 17.9% of people with disability able to join the workforce in 2020. And of course, the impact of COVID-19 influence more likely of this percentage. So when looking at the Malaysian perspective and about the workforce of people with disability, it was found still low at 0.31%. And according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia in 2018, more or less 400,000 people were registered in the public welfare department. Those people who registered, but we do not know the exact numbers of people with disability in Malaysia. All right. Oh, sorry. So I come across a few literatures on the unemployment issues related to people with disability. Basically, based on some of the previous literatures stated that majority of the people with disability, they want to work, they want to join the workforce, they want to socialize with other employees, basically they want to work. And because of prejudices, stereotyping, and limited choice of employment, especially looking at the facilities and accommodation that we need to provide to them, were and still become the hindrance factors of hiring people with disability. And of course, by meeting the expectation, and we are looking at the outcome of the to what extent the people with disability able to do specific job and tasks, and of course the work environment has and always become the challenges for people with disability. And of course, when we talk about what the employer wants, so basically they want people with disability to have some sort of soft and human skills, like able to work in team, they're able to solve problem related to any organization or perhaps industries. They look forward on the ability of the people with disability to be converse in English, so that we comprise that into communication skill and decision making. So according to the World Bank in 2020, they, of course, the effort is to develop more of inclusive workplace environment and strengthen the sense of community, you know, to perhaps to pull in together people with disability joining the workforce. Okay. So the research objective for this specific study is to explore the employability skill acquisition among students with disability. Of course, these groups of students, they come with different types of disability that we will explore that later, and from their holistic experience, especially in their training and education process. And finally, we would like to propose the critical employability skills attributes for people with disabilities. Of course, we enlighten the importance of adding these components in their curriculum and training module. So few methods that, no, it's actually a parts of a mixed method study, but for this discussion, I would like to point out the a case study in qualitative approach. So we come across 11 students with disability. MAB stands for Malaysian Association of Blindness. So we you know, rope in this group of students and a few students from University Putra Malaysia under the Bahagian Hal Ehwal Pelajar Student Affairs Division, together with their trainers, and altogether the informants that involved in this studies was 11. So of course we obtained the ethics approval board to conduct such study, and the validation types of process we involve, of course, the content validation and construct validation for both questionnaires, the employers questionnaires, and of course the interview protocol from the students and people with disability sides. Then we go further on collecting the employer side, which was published earlier, and then now we are looking at the qualitative findings, and we went through this thematic analysis using Atlas AI. And the future research is looking at the triangulation process of having this quantitative data and qualitative data. We would like to distinguish what the employers require from this group of students, people with disability, and what people with disability could offer to the employees in terms of the workforce capacities and capabilities. Right? So, you know, this is part of the program. Maybe I just okay. This we had a 3 days program at the Putra Future Classroom at Fakulti Pengajian Pendidikan UPM, and this was the 3rd day of the program. We were able to organize this program in the midst of the COVID-19, and of course we have a leeway of I guess 2 months. And then we were able to conduct the program as part of the research. We need to report the progress, and we developed tentative of programs which involve the intervention program of employability skills. We hired a specialist on employability skill development consultant, which tailor up with the people with disability what exactly they require according to their you know, suitable occupation that we can offer them, especially at the industrial side. And then so I just go through, and these were some of the participants that involved. For your information, Malaysian Association of Blindness deal with different groups of students who have difficulties on vision. So not all of them totally blind in terms of, you know, the vision percentage. When we talk about level of blindness, they have a few of them. They totally cannot see at all, and perhaps some of them able to see, but the vision is not really clear. Therefore, we segregate that group of students and then comes across few students from the UPM struggling with ADHD, compulsive disorder, all those kind of disabilities that we encountered through 3 days intervention program. Okay, and of course, we developed a module prior to this event, making sure that the module is suitable with the capacity and their ability to digest the contents. And basically, throughout this program, the project itself requested the people with disability, the students with disability, to do more of practical instead of giving more of content values. Okay. Let me move to the next page. So these are the results from the teams that we developed, and of course we peer review some of the narrative from the students. And the first result, basically the most I would like to share with all of you regarding the employability skills that are relevant and produced from the narrative given by the informants. So the first employability skill that is closely highlight from the industrial perspective is on communication skill. And most believe that by having these public speaking skills is part of very important skills that is needed, especially in the industry. And of course, writing skills. Of course, they struggle with certain level of blindness. Some of them able to read text. So basically, they have their mobile phone together and they can read WhatsApp messages. And then they believe that writing skill is also very important, especially when you write on news reporting articles and reporting news. So this was not coming from students with a certain level of blindness, I guess, come from students with having ADHD and another compulsive disorder. Okay, practical skills. One of the informants mentioned that he had an experience in breeding deer. So it's very important in agricultural industries where this knowledge is, I think, significant these days. And when we talk about digitalization, of course, digital skill is also part of employability skill components. So few of the students, informants involved in developing their ability to explore on digitalization, editing, videography, and those kind of things. And critical thinking and analytical skills are highly relevant in this 21st century, especially when we look at the World Economic Forum, looking at the future occupation, where most employers looking at their employees' capabilities to provide some solution to such problems, okay, especially in research. So the discussion leads to looking at the global employment market as a lens of the study, looking at the importance contribution of employability skill, such as critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and invention. Of course, we look on the future generation who are able to invent and create, especially on job creation, cooperation and communication, of course, becoming increasingly vital these days. So we look at the higher education institution perspective, looking at the roots and gist of program developments. Of course, we encourage all the contribution of these soft skill elements, and of course, employability skill. How can we embed those skills in the curriculum? People with disability is greatly in dire needs of resources, and of course, to develop their portfolio for specific skill. Readiness, and of course, looking at the socio-cultural perspective, how can we encourage their participation and being, as a people, how can we be more of receptive of this group of people? Try to reduce the discrimination and prejudices, of course, these intrinsic and negative values have become the major barrier of people with disability when they wanted to join the employment sector. So as a conclusion, people with disability recruitment, it is strongly agree that looking at the how can we enrich the training and module, especially on adding the employability skills elements, is highly important as compared to the current conventional traditional teaching methods to this group of people, where it is more of structured, giving them hands-on skill of course, it's still relevant on the hands-on skill, but at the same time, we discovered that the importance of employability skill. And of course, we need to empower the bilateral and collaborative cooperation between the industries and the education institution, making sure that they always communicate with each other to know what is the best, what is the best for the people with disability in terms of job offering, and looking at the way forward, possibility in the time frame of internship and practicum opportunities in industrial settings. So when they experience and mature in terms of how things or job, the nature of the industries will more likely help these people with disability to enter the workforce based on their experience, job experience per se. And thank you very much. This is the acknowledgements section. So the study was funded by the FRGS by the Ministry of Education. And of course, the Research Management Center in UPM is always helping group of researchers and handling all the distribution funds was one way of helping the intended research objective. So with then I end my presentation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Kaiser. Interesting also, very interesting actually. Regarding people with disability, okay, with respect to their potential vocational and also employability. But I noticed people with disability are probably in two or more categories, right? One is cognitive capability or disability. The other one is physical disability or capability. So from the 11 students that you take them actually as your respondent or participant in your research, all of them are you mentioned people with ADHD just now.
Yeah.
Okay, some of them actually with ADHD, and some of them also are blind, people with the blindness. Even the blindness also they have the category. Some are completely blind. Some of them actually still can see, though it is not very clear, right? Yeah. So are there also a group of people in your participant in your research blind and also having ADHD?
Well, thank you very much for the question. For the data collection, and of course we collect all of their narrative. We did not divide them into specific categories of disability because we encourage the diversity in the process of joining the employability skills intervention program. So of course, according to the the Ministry of Welfare in Malaysia, basically they define people with disability with 7 categories, and part of that particular 7 categories involve students with ADHD and students with underperforming students in terms of student LEBAM. It's very slow students.
Yeah, slow learners.
And that would be part of the cognitive impairment. So yes, we did not divide those informants into specific categories for this study. Yeah.
Because I think it is okay, but I think moving forward also probably we need also to structure the vocational and also the employability training according to their level of disability or their categories of disability. I'm very sure that people with cognitive disability may find it more difficult actually to get employment compared to people with physical disability, because physical disability can have many categories, like blind and then deaf and then probably losing one arm and then probably paralyzed, half paralyzed. They need a wheelchair, but the hands and the brain and the upper part of the body are still as normal as like normal people. So maybe what I'm saying is probably the training and the learning program is tuned to specific requirement of those people with a specific disability. There are also people with a big autistic, and Down syndrome. These are different category of disability, and they need to go through different set of program in school or in a vocational training that is tuned towards to handle or to complement their disabilities. You cannot have the same program for people with for autistic people and also for Down syndrome people. Or you cannot have the same program for deaf and also for the blind. That's what I'm saying, because every disability has got their own unique way of learning and their ability, cognitive ability also to adapt to the situation. But this is a good research. Actually, it's a good research, and it is also opening up a lot more research potentially that Dr. Kaiser can do actually to address many other areas of people with disability. So, like I said, from your moving forward, it looks like that the internship and so on has to be more open now. We allow more organization, whether it is a private or public sector, to participate, to get people with disability to enter their internship program or their field training program, for people with disability. I'm not sure whether it is a must, or the law has spelled quite clearly that okay, organization must allow minimum number of people of disability to enter their internship program. Is there any way the law say that way?
Well, thank you very much for the suggestion, Dr. Shafai. To respond to that inquiry, I guess based on our employers on the quantitative sides, on the employers' findings, we discovered that the employers they don't have any hesitation to receive people with disability to enter their workforce specific industries. The government has ruled, they develop a ruling on and policy regarding on employing at least 1% of employees in any types of organization, especially at the government sectors. So 1% it's still, to me, it's quite it's still low because looking at the numbers of unemployment among people with disability is significantly high. Yeah, I think that's a great opportunity for people with disability when they are able to especially build networking and exposed to the industry via the process of internship and enter the field early before they completing their programs at the education institution will more likely increase their skills, per se,
Yes, yes.
and perhaps able to introduce them to the prospective employers before they officially get into the organization. Yeah.
But you're saying that the government has ruling, let's say, like the organization must have minimum 1% of the total workforce.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1% must be coming from the type of people with this certain degree of disabilities. But has this been so-called applied, or all organization actually meeting this requirement, or are they hesitant? Are they not actually complying to the ruling?
Well, it hasn't been made compulsory for the private agency, but I suppose that 1% of employment intake comes from the people with disability has taken place in most of the government sectors.
In a
So
public organization.
exactly, yes,
Yeah.
public organization. So
Mm.
that therefore we would like to perhaps voice out this concern to the respective Kementerian Sumber Manusia, Ministry of Human Resource,
Yes,
to
yes.
to relook the policy and perhaps encourage private agencies, private organizations to employ more of people with disability, perhaps give on looking at the giving better benefits in terms of tax exemption, maybe. So that would be
Exactly.
one of the strategies. Yeah.
Some of the encouragement that they can do is like that. Actually, they can give tax exemption, for instance. If they employ X number of people with disability, there are a few other things also that they can actually get leverage on, just to encourage them actually to be able to participate in program. But I think the government also can play a role if they want actually to make this as a ruling. You know, if you don't comply, you will be penalized. Like, you know, every organization must have this so-called HRDF funding, Human Resource Development Fund actually, and they have to put aside that much money depending on the number of the staff of the organization. Human Resource Ministry know this, and they need to use it if they send only the staff for training. Otherwise, the money will not be utilized. The money will go to human resource. So there's one way actually. So put aside some money, and this money is to pay actually for the training or for other needs of the people with disability within that organization. Otherwise, the organization will so-called lose, quote unquote, the money if they don't utilize that.
Exactly.
One way actually, you know, to but other country, I'm not sure lah, Dr. Muhammad Kaiser. Maybe you have also studied how other country like probably, you know, developed countries in Denmark or New Zealand deal with the people with disability in the employment, you know.
Yeah.
As a
Well,
comparison, maybe we can learn some from them.
Looking at the Western side, for example, in the United States and perhaps some of the United Kingdoms, Scandinavian countries, they have a very strong policy in terms of hiring people with disability into their employment, giving supports, you know, but it comes from the government effort. If the government strongly encourage and giving more of, you know, benefits to the organization, to the employers, especially when they increase the job opportunity to people with disability by, for example, if they can, the government gives some funds to provide the specific accommodation like parking space very close to the office of the people with disabilities, giving, you know, developing some kind of equipments, ramps, that will highly, you know, giving a better opportunity to people with disability in terms of job opportunities. So we will look into that, and maybe later on, based on the overall findings from this study, I will definitely report to the funder and talk about that, and we will see how things goes.
Maybe you need to set up probably NGOs, you know, to have a specific mission with respect to this. So who can push actually. NGO actually can push. The voice is stronger as far as NGO is concerned, you know. And we all know that our government is actually doing it. Actually, start to appreciate the existence of people with disability, you know. However, the government reaction as far as treatment of people with disability is not as fast as what is happening compared to the modern and developed countries around us. Okay, so we are a little bit slow. But the way I look at it, 30 years ago, not many of us really appreciate people with disability. We don't know, you know, we don't know and we don't care. We think it is a disease, you know. But I think the awareness is becoming clearer and clearer every day. We start notice that, you know, places where we frequent, the shops, the eating places, you know, restaurant, are starting to, you know, to provide amenities and facilities for people, for disabled people, you know, the ramp, you know, some they have a standby, you know, a wheelchair, and also sitting and sit or chair actually in the restaurant to cater for these people, this type of people. So the awareness is increasing, but we are not at the speed that we expect or we anticipate at this moment. So the push from maybe Dr. Kaiser, who is in this field, probably will be more meaningful. Okay, so keep it there, and then I hope you can be a stronger voice to you know, on behalf of these PWDs. Yeah. Any question from the rest? No. Okay, thank you, Dr. Kaiser. Thank you, very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, so let's move forward. I think the next one we're going to have Amizan. Amizan, are you there?
Yes, doctor, I'm here.
Okay, Amizan, you will be talking about developing effective online marketing strategies for women entrepreneurs in state of Selangor. Yeah. Okay, so now you can take the floor.
Okay. So I should just share my screen and then.
Dr. Kaiser, I probably need to unshare first.
Okay.
All right.
Oh no, it stuck.
Okay. That's normal. I mean, technicalities always come in our way sometimes.
Okay. 1 minute, please.
No problem. No problem.
This never happens before. I don't know why.
You say double click. There you go.
Too many programs. All right. Okay. Okay. Is the slideshow there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Quite nervous actually. I don't know why. Okay. All right. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, especially to the respectful the conference chairman, Dr. Shafai, and to my fellow delegates in this conference. So in this presentation, I will be presenting on the developing and effective online marketing strategies for B40 women entrepreneurs in Selangor. So actually, this topic is part of the LRHS project research grant granted by the Ministry of Higher Education. So first of all, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Amizan Azim Ramli. I'm from the Faculty of Humanities and Social Science, and also in the Department of Language and Linguistic Research Studies in University Bahasa Malaysia.
Okay.
Okay, so a little bit introduction about my studies. I mean, the whole purpose of this research project. So there are many various studies that shown that to be successful in online entrepreneurship, I mean, it doesn't integrate women or men, which requires a high level of literacy, practical language. Sorry, I need to move. Sorry. Okay. Yes. A high level of digital literacy, practical language usage for online advertising, and good strategies in marketing. So, and through the economic downturn caused by the COVID-19 pandemic starting in 2019, at the end of 2019, so we have seen that the blooming activities of entrepreneurship in online. So we have come across some of the trendy TikTok usage. A lot of people started to easily to go in or go out into economic field doing entrepreneurship, because these people they are not doing entrepreneurship just because they wanted to get rich, but they mainly want to survive. So it has proven that this digital entrepreneurship is essential income and employment contribution in Malaysia. And also it's one of the Malaysia's leading gross domestic product GDP catalysts. And this women-owned business has constitute 186,000 from the 900,000 in small medium enterprises in Malaysia. So CRES have identified two variables that might contribute to the success of the digital entrepreneurship, which are the digital literacy abilities and language proficiency. Okay, so first of all, we need to identify what are the problems that these women entrepreneurs facing when they want to, perform online marketing or venture into digital entrepreneurship. So these women, they lack the skills to utilize the basic digital function in conducting online business. For example, some of the these women, they can do business, they can do hard sell, they can do face-to-face marketing, but when they try to venture into the digital marketing itself, they face problems like in the digital element itself. For example, in Shopee, some of the UI interface, some of the user interface, sometimes they cannot interact with it, so they cannot find the features to interact with the software, to application, to upload pictures, to put the description of product in e-commerce platforms. Similarly, in social media, when they want to make some advertisement, they simply don't know where the features sit. So normally when we install an application, when the first language is always the English part, it's always in English. So to change the English into Malay language or to their native language is also a problem. So they simply lack the skill to utilize the basic digital function. So the second problem is the inadequacy of English language skills in marketing, such as writing product description, copywriting, copy editing, and even reading. So these women entrepreneurs they are highly have the potential to enter the international market. So we take a look at the Shopee for Singapore, for example. So for example, few of the women entrepreneurs, they have the capability, to sell their products, especially if they sell keropok lekor in the eastern province. Like they have the potential, the demand is there, but to enter the international market, they have to put everything, their product description and product title in English. Then they are eligible to enter the international market, especially in the Shopee Singapore. So this mainly have caused a constraint to the women entrepreneurs because they cannot use English. They lack the abilities to write a product description in English. They cannot put title in English, and also they cannot utilize the application itself in English. So yeah, and some women entrepreneurs have identified that their low level of English language and literacy skills as barriers that have caused these varieties of problems. So therefore, the purpose of the research from the statement formulated some of the research objectives, which is to identify the digital literacy skills among B40 women entrepreneurs in Selangor and to examine the English language readiness to conduct online business among the B40 women entrepreneurs in Singapore. So these are some of the review of literatures on language and digital literacy when it comes to digital entrepreneurship. So some of the past literature have also mentioned that ICT, digital literacy, language abilities are highly connected, highly associated, that can promote a better performance in online marketing, in online digital entrepreneurship. So some of the mentioned that English language implementation in marketing moderates the application content and confirms the marketing performance. So in theory, if the English language skills can somehow contribute to the effectiveness of their marketing strategies, especially when they want to enter the international market. But some of the study also mentioned that this digital entrepreneurship to promote products are not necessarily associated with the language, because some of it are very faster. But these specific elements and specific fields, specific objectives when the women entrepreneurs themselves they want to enter the international market. Okay, so the research design of this study is a single method, quantitative purposes sampling, 105 respondents targeted to B40 women entrepreneurs who are performing digital marketing in a social media platform. So the research instrument is a survey questionnaire using Google Form developed under the LRGS project, guided by the focus group discussion, using a 5-point skill rating scale to rate their skill in digital literacy and language skill. So the section of the questionnaire have two. So we have the demographic and the digital economy readiness. Okay, before we get into the result, we want to know what are the state or the reliability of the questionnaire. So of course that it is reliable. It's above than 0.6 or 0.7. So in theory, this questionnaire is highly reliable and its result can be proven later. Okay, so the demographic result of this questionnaire, mostly, but there are no genders different, because most respondents of this questionnaire are from women entrepreneurs. So many of these entrepreneurs came from the 26 to 35 years old of age group, and the majority of these respondents answer the questionnaire mainly involve themselves into product and marketing. Okay, then we go dive into the result itself. Then from starting with the speaking skill, so the level 4 is the most rated level by the women entrepreneurs, while level 1 is the least rated level, which is just for respondent. Therefore, as for the writing skill, level 4 is the most rated level of proficiency by the women entrepreneurs, which is just 47 respondent. And to put it simply, the highest mean score over the English, the three domain of English language skills is the writing skill. Then
Amizan, can I interrupt? Sorry. Can you go back to the previous slide?
Yes.
Okay, the speaking skill. Okay, the speaking skill, you just have 4 respondents actually that respond to your questionnaire.
No. 4 respondents that highlighted that they have a low skills in using English as their speaking ability, and most of them are rated in 3. I mean the rating scale is 1 to 5. So 1 equals to not skilled enough, and 5 to the most skilled. So only 4 respondents rated that they mainly not using English in speaking.
Okay, so here when you say here, you mean actually the 4 respondents is actually having the speaking skills at level 1.
Yes.
Okay. And then for writing skill, 47 respondents is saying level 1.
What?
Is that right?
For writing skill level 1,
Yeah, you have level 4 is the most rated,
yes.
which is 47 respondent. Or level 2 is the least rated, which is
Yes,
3.
level 3.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, I understand now.
Okay, so sorry if the confusion. Okay, so we can see that from the mean score among the speaking, writing, and marketing skills, writing abilities is the most highest mean. So we can say that these women entrepreneurs have already acquired the required writing abilities in promoting their product in English. Then we take a look into the digital literacy skills. So the item that comprise the highest mean score is smartphone skills. Surprisingly, followed by laptop. Using laptop and desktop, and of course, camera being the lowest, because some of the women entrepreneurs lack the ability to utilize basic literacy skills, and they lack the skill to use or to use a better or effective camera skill to take picture of their products, but especially they want to take pictures their homemade products and put in an advertisement in social media, Facebook, and so on. Okay, then the readiness to perform online business. So from the past studies that I have mentioned earlier, we can see that the lack of skills in utilizing digital literacy skills. So you can see that the lowest mean score is 2.57, which is know that I know how to retrieve certificate for online business, which means that most of them didn't know how to retrieve the certificate for their online business. And the second lowest is the knowing how to make branding for product or service in specifically in Facebook, in Facebook advertisement. So mainly most of these entrepreneurs, they didn't know how to make the branding or how to advertise their product in Facebook advertisement. And the most highest mean score is, yes, they can identify online business opportunities, because business opportunities are mainly everywhere, and they know how to utilize the logistic shipping service such as Foodpanda, GrabFood, Postlaju, and Lalamove. Then we could see the correlation. What are the correlation between the language skills and the digital literacy skills to venture into the digital entrepreneurship? So as the Pearson correlation equals to 0.630, so there is a positive relationship between these two variables, which are the language skills and digital literacy skills. And a strong relationship, as according to Evans, it falls between 0.60 and 0.79. So past study have also mentioned that the authors they had highlighted that interaction trendiness and ease of use affected the entrepreneur's satisfaction to implement digital marketing using a smartphone. So it also explained why the highest mean score over the digital literacy skills is using smartphone equals to 4.30. Therefore, next we take a look into the relationship between language skill and their readiness to perform online business, as using the Pearson correlation analysis result with the value of R equals to 0.525 has uncover a moderate correlation, as according to Evans, it stood between 0.4 and 2 to 0.59. So of course, there are also past studies that conducted by Maharana and Chadbury has posited that significant impact of language proficiency among entrepreneurs in India on their business performance. And therefore, one of the barriers to online entrepreneurs success as the language skills. So it also translates the moderate level of the correlation between the readiness for them to perform online business and their ability in using English language skills. So in theory, the higher their English language ability, so the higher their readiness to perform to venture into the online digital entrepreneurship. So these findings have displayed that the majority of the women entrepreneurs are at the moderate level regarding their English language skill and digital literacy skills. So the result of this study, it might help to comprehend what are the women entrepreneurs lack of. So it is hoped that the findings will add into the understanding of the importance of English language skills in digital economy among B40 women entrepreneurs, so that the future policy makers and agency will plan and execute action to make sure that these women entrepreneurs are not left behind. So with this, I end my presentation and open to comments and questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Amizan. Also
Thank you,
interesting
Doctor.
subject actually. Interesting subject actually, and looking at the major group of the population of the country, we are actually focusing on the B40 and looking at the woman perspective, not as overall men and women, but women specific. So this is important. Okay, any comment? Any feedback from the presentation from Amizan? You like to share or you like to comment?
Well, Dr. Shafai, if I may perhaps give some comments
please, Doctor.
on the topic. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Amizam. You don't have to be pressured up. And perhaps, of course, maybe this is your early experience in presenting, especially an important topic in the research conference. So basically, this is the platform that you can use to groom up, especially as a researcher. And perhaps in the future, maybe, who knows, you're going to be one of the academics at any public universities in Malaysia. It's indeed an interesting topic, looking at the digital literacy. Part of my students, I just recall myself, one of my students came out with the idea of gig economy on digital literacy, the relationship between digital literacy and gig economy application. So I come across, but I did not see any framework based on my students' research project. Do you use any specific framework when you looking at the variables in your study? Do you have any specific framework, especially on the digital literacy part?
Yeah. Oh, okay, the framework said that since this is only for conference proceedings, so because actually before I start doing the conference paper, I have looked into the previous published conference. So most of the previous papers didn't have the specified framework. So I thought, I should not include my framework there. Of course, the conceptual and the theoretical framework. But for the actual, since I'm at my master's level, I'm doing thesis, so the upcoming framework would be the using UTAL or the theory acceptance model.
Okay. Well, I think your study is, perhaps it's going to be more interesting if you could add any theory related on digitalization, since we are talking about having, and of course, moving to this digital era, especially on in businesses, entrepreneurs studies. So I guess looking at the roots or perhaps the keywords of competency, digital competency framework might help you to explore and delve further on the importance of digital literacy skills in any specific research area. So that would be my comments to help Amizam to improve the research, perhaps to get more of better findings, hopefully. Okay, thank you.
Digital competence framework.
Digital competency framework, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, you can
Thank you for the
search. You
suggestion.
can search that framework. There are also other theories. Maybe technology acceptance behavior is also one of them. But again, it depends on the applicability of the theory on your research area. But whatever theory that you use, you have to support, and that support can come from your literature review. Okay, so you cite some of the statement from the previous authors, from the previous literature to support that this is the framework that I'm going to use for my research. So for any research, if you have the framework or the theoretical framework that support your finding, it will be more so-called in line with the research methodology, so-called. Okay. So it is always that way. Okay. It is always that way. So a paper probably is as a comparison is one without the framework and one with the framework. As far as academic research paper is concerned, the one with framework is more appropriate actually. Yeah. So you can actually, according to Dr. Ghazi just now, you can make some reference. You can search actually. There are many framework or theory that has been previously applied or used by previous authors. Actually, you can also apply to use that. So then make your paper more complete, more comprehensive, and more so-called quote unquote acceptable. Okay. Any feedback? Maybe Miss Wong Daidi? No? Miss Tasnim, do you have any feedback? No? But I think the data that you have probably is enough for you to develop this paper, except to add that framework, and then you apply that framework with the data that you have, and then you can also actually make another research paper or two based on the data that you have, but since you only have one gender, which is a male or female in this instance, yeah. So maybe next one you want to find out about the digital competency among the male before male, Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Amizan. Thank you very much. Okay. Now we have 3, and then we have remaining 3 presenters. I suggest that can we take about 15-minute 1-5 break? Okay, we can we can stretch up. We can go to the small room, ease ourselves, or you can make coffee or tea. You can make calls or anything, and then come back at 4 o'clock. Okay, 18 minutes. Come back at 4 o'clock. That be okay? All right. Great.
Yes, very good.
So I'll see you all again at 4 o'clock. Can you hear me, Miss Wong?
Yeah, yes. I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, you are next actually. Your title of your presentation is Medical Tourism Index, a comparative study of Penang and Malacca. Okay.
Yes, correct.
So are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Sorry, just now I joined with different graduate. Actually, it's okay. I'm ready. Okay.
Okay. Please, you can start now. Please take over the floor. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay. So everybody can see my screen, right? Is it? Okay. Yes. Okay. So a very good afternoon. Okay, a very good afternoon to ICMRES2012. Also organizer, the Academia Industrial Network.
Hi,
good afternoon.
I think your supervisor, Dr. Siti Suryawati, also has attended one of our conferences before.
Oh, yeah. It's
I think
yeah,
so.
doctor introduced me one. Yes, correct.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, proceed.
Okay, so proceed. So a very good evenings to Dr. Safai Magil, the chairman, and Dr. Azia, Dr. Muhammad Kaiser Omar, Mr. Amizan, and Miss Alifar, and Miss Tasni. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Wong Daidi, a PhD student from UPM. So today my topic is developing a medical tourism index for Klang Valley and Melaka. And my supervisor is Dr. Siti Surawati, and my committee is Dr. Sheena and Dr. Roslan. So allow me to do some introductions first. From here, we can see number of healthcare traveler and the revenue from 2011 to 2019. And for all of us know, Malaysia is one of the most popular medical tourism in the world. Okay, the number of health traveler is expected to continue growing even after the pandemics, okay, the post-pandemic. So this table outlines all the number of healthcare traveler from 2011 to 2019, and here we can see that in 2019 it generated about 1,700 million. So this is really a multi-billion industry. Yeah, and my research objective is this is the main one, to establish a medical tourism index for Klang Valley and Melaka, Malaysia. And this is my literature review. So according to the Cambridge Dictionary,
sorry, and Ms. Wang, can I inform? Your title is comparative study Penang and Melaka.
No, I changed it. I already edited in that one.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yes. Okay,
so it is Klang Valley and Melaka, right?
Yes, correct. Okay. So okay, so in tourism study, this index is a kind of indicator to show whether it is good or not, that place. If the index is high, that means that place is very good for medical tourism. If the index is low, that means it's not very good. Okay, so we can see that TCI, Tourism Climax Index, and Travel Tourism Competitive Index, TTCI, appear to be the most popular index. Okay, but however, the TTCI seem more systematic collections. Okay, and rather than a model that reveal clear testable among the variable. So recently, medical tourism index is gaining more popular attentions among the healthcare and tourism literature. Okay, and those are the commonly used index in tourism study. TCI and TTCI are the most popular one. Okay, and what is medical tourism index actually? So medical tourism index assess a cultural attractiveness of a medical tourism destination in terms of the overall image and environment, attractiveness and infrastructure, and the ability and quality of medical facility services. And this is my problem statement. Okay, it was found that most of the tourist index research is country basics and very little focus on single destination. So I will focus on Melaka and Klang Valley only. And many research also just focus on the supply side. And my one is I focus on the demand side. Okay, so and medical tourism index included 41 destinations from 5 regions, but yet Malaysia, we get so many awards but left out of the pool. So and then my objective of this research is to establish a medical tourism index for 2 selected destinations in Malaysia, namely Klang Valley and Melaka. And my sample is all from Klang Valley and Melaka. And how I calculated using this one, okay, my formula. As indicated by Nathan and Chin, 2018, Penang and Klang Valley occupy 76%, okay? And then around 60% of the total market share are from Penang. So I subtracting the contribution of the Penang, so the number of contribution of Klang Valley is thus 16%. So therefore, the medical tourists in Klang Valley is 1,095,200. So I use this formula to calculate it out, and then I assume 8% medical tourists visited Melaka. Okay, so also I use the same formula, and then I calculate out around 97,600 visited Malacca. Okay, so I also calculate out the sample size required for Klang Valley and Malacca. Okay, the sample required for Klang Valley is 257. Malacca is 127, so the total sample required is 384. And my site is Klang Valley and Malacca. Okay, so it's quite near. Why I choose Klang Valley and Malacca is because there are a few reasons to choose this Klang Valley, because in 2014, hospital services recorded the highest gross output amounting to 8.3 billion, okay, by medical and dental services, and 4.8 billion and other human health services, okay. And then public health services employ 95,644 persons, okay. And for Malacca was chosen because it is a UNESCO, United Nations Education, Social and Cultural Organization World Heritage. So many tourists go there. So at least 500,000 medical tourists have visited Malacca under the medical tourism of the STAR 2015. So this one is quite strategic place, and Malacca is quite good because it's just a few hours from Klang Valley. And this is my theoretical framework. Okay. This one is how to calculate the medical tourism index. It's divided into 4: destination environment, medical tourism industry, facility services, and medical tourism costs. Okay. And then my finding, this one is the formula that is used by the Fisherin and Stefano, and then I just use this one to calculate the medical tourism index for Klang Valley and Malacca. So I just add it out all together. Okay, and then this one is the Likert scale conversion table, and then I just total up all the rating times 100 divided to the amount of item times 4. Okay, and then what I found out that is really, really interesting. Most of them are from Indonesia. Okay, and then mostly of Indonesians come here for cancer treatment, or the most is cancer treatment, IVF, something like that. And most of the respondents are also is male, okay. And mostly the age are around middle age, and then mostly of them are single and married. Okay, and the educational level, most of them are diploma until bachelor degree. Okay, and then the occupation, around 80+% are self-employed and private sector employee, and their monthly income level are quite high. Actually, it's almost less than 10,000 is about 35.6%, and more than 30,000 also 20.8%. Okay, and this is the importance of medical tourism destination. We found out that yes, the medical tourism cost is really important, but also the medical tourism industry is very important as well, especially the expertise, okay, expertise from the doctor. Okay, and this one is the important medical tourism attribute, and then we can see that the most of it is from medical tourism industry. Malaysia got a lot of awards in medical tourism. Okay, and then okay, and this one is my descriptive result. Okay, I get all the mean all together, and then we can see that just a little bit of deviations over here. So not so much deviates, except for this one, low corruptions. Okay, and then this one is all the mean and standard deviations for my study. Okay, and this one is the most important part over here. This one is my medical tourism index after the whole calculations, and then I get actually the medical tourism index for Malacca is higher than Klang Valley. Okay, oh, the Malacca is 95.4% as for country environment. For Klang Valley is only 82.8%, and tourism destinations for Klang Valley is 93.8%. Malacca is 98.6%. But for medical tourism cost is 99.1% for Malacca, and for Klang Valley is 96.7%. Quality of facility and services for Klang Valley is 96.8, and then for Malacca is 99. Okay, And this one is the radar chart for medical tourism index for Klang Valley and Malacca. And then we can see that the medical tourism cost is quite high actually. Okay, quite high. Okay, and then the discussion, in total, 420 questionnaires were received. Okay, those questionnaires are carried out in launch or online, Google. However, only 400 questionnaires were deemed eligible for further analysis. It was found that most of the respondents who visited Malaysia are from Indonesia. In both Klang Valley and Malacca, it was found that the Indonesian medical tourists are dominated. The market comprises of 88.8% and 82.7% respectively. And then the second highest number of medical tourists are from Singapore, accounting for 5.2% and 15.3%. This is probably due to like the geography proximity of both countries. So in terms of gender, there were more male for both medical destination. However, almost 95% of respondents who visit Malacca are male, whereas about 69% of the respondents who visit Klang Valley are female. So what is my implication of the finding? For theoretical implication, this research contribute to a better knowledge of medical tourism from the consumer point of view. Given the impact of medical tourism of consumer health and well-being in their home country, this is the area of study that warrant the attention of the healthcare community, which would include healthcare practitioners, private insurer, government, and other organizations involved directly or indirectly in the decision-making process. And for practical, destination marketer in the medical tourism sector can develop and implement a more holistic and successful marketing plan to establish a more positive perception of medical tourism for potential traveler. A pleasant country environment, especially like Singapore, is very safe. For instance, Malaysia also very safe, can help a particular hospital in enhancing the intention of possible medical tourism to visit the destination for medical care. To promote a favorable image of the country environment, government should enhance economy, political, social, and technical circumstances, as well as safety and security in the country. The medical tourism index can be applied by stakeholders in the medical tourism industry to assess the impact of sustainable development on medical tourism index criteria ranking, as well as to compare destination. Okay, so this are the research limitation and suggestions for future research. Okay, the study scope was limited because it was limited to Klang Valley and Malacca only. Okay, some more got COVID-19, implying that the findings are restricted in their generalizability. Future study may incorporate other medical tourism destinations to make a comparison. Data were all collected from Asian respondents only, and majority of them are from Indonesian. Okay, future research should collect data from more countries so that it offers more valuable evidence for comparison of cultural differences and country of origin in medical tourism behavior intention. This study is quantitative in nature. Future studies should consider qualitative research to better understand the medical tourism index. Even though when I interviewed the medical tourism index, I think the person in charge for Glen Eagle also, he said many people from Indonesia especially come here for cancer treatment. So thank you to all the participants who participate in my study, and thank you for listening. Okay, that's all from me. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wong. Thank you for your presentation. Well, I like to hear also comments and feedback from the floor. Anyone, please? Anything at all? Dr. Kaiser?
Well, I think the research is well reported, and I guess it's indeed a significant studies, especially amidst COVID-19, and I was wondering how important it is of this medical tourism in the future. And I just wondering on the number of the 20 questionnaire were left out from the reports. there were 20 respondents were not basically responded to your survey. What happened with the other 20 questionnaires?
Oh, the what happened to the 20 questionnaire actually is not well answered. Like some like kosong, some is empty, and then because I'm answered in launch, and then some of them not really understand, especially those are from, they are like not, they don't understand English, and then I think like not very complete, and then some like they just want to answer half and then see too long already and then don't want to answer. So that is why I didn't include lah in my research. And then some of them they didn't complete the form.
Dr. Kaiser, ini outliers lah ni.
Okay, outliers, yes. Well, another issue is maybe as a researcher, I would like to ask on, reflecting on the COVID-19 pandemic. So as a researcher, how do you look at it? I mean, in terms of the future research regarding on tourism, medical tourism area. Do you have any prediction, forecasting on the trends of this research area in the future?
I think this trend, especially for medical tourism, I think will be just getting more and more because many people didn't buy insurance. So especially from like those rich people from Indonesia, rich people from China, rich people from Singapore, they don't want to buy insurance and then they come Malaysia. So I think Malaysia just will getting better and better in this area, in this medical tourism area. And then I hope really getting more research in Malaysia so that actually Singapore is very good in medical tourism already. I think as a neighboring country, Malaysia should perform good also, since Malaysia got a lot of award for medical tourism, especially in IVF, in cancer, in heart disease, in quite a lot of sections for Malaysia actually. This one.
Perhaps one last question from me. Well, looking at the public medical services, do you have any information on the medical tourism spirits efforts in public agency, public hospital?
Oh, this one is a very good question. Okay, the spirit for government. This is a very tough question because government hospital normally they are like the trainee doctor, most of them 20, 30. Of course, got some expert doctor, but mostly they are like training in the government hospital and then come out to join into the private hospital. So for the spirit, I think maybe not yet lah. Maybe not yet.
Well, I guess that would be the trajectory for the future plan on the improvement of the public hospital services in Malaysia.
Yes.
Hopefully. Thank you. That's all, Dr. Syafai.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kaiser. I think that is also interesting. But your data is basically from the tourists, right?
Yes, it's from the medical tourists.
From the respondent are tourists actually. Yes. And how do you get the list of the names or the respondent actually? Where do you get the respondent from?
I get it from two ways actually. Okay. I go to the hospital and then I ask all the procedure and then they say, oh, you just can interview them at the launch. Okay, so then I interview at the launch, but at the launch, not so many people. So some hospital, they don't not allow me to get the data in the launch. Okay, some people say just, it's okay, you just give me, I help you. I am also from UPM. Okay, I am the person in charge. So he helped me to pass it to the respondent, but he said, I cannot guarantee you because I have to ask them whether they want or not. I cannot guarantee that I can get the data, but yeah, he really get it lah, but not all of it lah. not all of it. Some people don't want to answer like that. So I get it from two ways.
So how many hospitals did you visit actually?
Oh, 20, actually we got 27 are privates, okay, but only 2 hospitals for Klang Valley and 1 hospital for Melaka.
And the remaining hospital are from?
Just 2 hospitals in Selangor and 1 hospital in Melaka. Can only. So the other cannot lah.
So you cannot get the data from the patient from the other hospital?
Cannot. They don't allow lah. Yeah.
Well, that is expected anyway, because some patients are quite sensitive and very private about their situation and so on. So they don't want to share.
Yes, and the hospital not allowed.
Yeah, and even hospital policy also sometimes does not allow patient, or probably as a confidentiality and policy of the hospital, they don't share the information, or especially the private information about the patients. Okay, so but it is all a private hospital.
Yes, correct.
I want to ask you maybe a bit about the medical tourism index.
Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned in your earlier slide about medical tourism index. Who actually, whether it is an organization or a body, or is it a government agency that own or that actually come up with the medical tourism index? Who actually responsible for that?
Actually, it's by the Fisherin and Stefano. I think it's the World Medical Tourism Organization. Fisherin and Stefano they create this one in 2016 paper.
Okay. Okay. Did you mention anywhere in your paper?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, if you mention it is fine. Okay.
Yeah,
and then in your study, okay, in your framework, you have your own medical tourism index and the variable.
Yes.
So is this based based on the author just now that come up with this index?
Yeah. I'm based from the author.
The variable is exactly the same?
Yes, the variable is exactly the same. Yeah,
you don't
just
add
for
any
my
variable? You don't add any variable, or you don't exclude any variable from what they have?
I add this variable, medical tourism cost. And then for my another paper, I add the theory of planned behavior inside. Another paper. That one is my contribution now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then again, the sample size. You mentioned about how many just now? The sample size.
The sample size. This one.
500 and sample size. Sample size. Yeah. Klang Valley, you expect required 257 and 127 correspondingly for Melaka, for a total of 384.
Yes.
How do you come up with this number actually? On what basis?
I come up from this basis. Okay, this basis. I based from this one, Malaysia Healthcare Travel Council 2021. The number of this one, international visitor is to travel to Malaysia was 1.22 million.
Okay.
So actually there is no data on the distribution of medical tourists. So it's really difficult. But I just
so you just make your own estimate. You make your own estimate?
I made my own estimate from this one, Nathan, that one, the Melaka, yes, I assume. And then for the Klang Valley, based from Nathan 2018 and Chin 2018 also, Penang and Klang Valley occupy around 76%. So where around 60% are from Penang. So I minus it out, so maybe 60% is Klang Valley, this one. Yeah, also assuming 76 minus 60, so it's 16. And this one I really assume by myself.
Okay, I guess the Melaka one, I think the Melaka one, you need to state how do you arrive at 8% as far as your assumption. Because in any research, you cannot just plug the number and then you say, I will based on this assumption, you have to support it somehow. Okay.
Okay.
For the Klang Valley, you have the support because there's an article by Nathan and Chin. Okay, so you actually can extrapolate from the numbers to assume that Klang Valley is about 16%. Okay, but Melaka is another different story because you do not have any probably previous article to support that you are assuming 8%.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I will improve that
maybe you can improve that one. Don't have to improve the paper that you have submitted, but the paper that you probably want to submit during the journal publication, you may want to change. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that is the sample size. Okay. So I have no more question. Anybody else? Tak ada. Tak ada, then we can proceed with Dr. Aziah. I wonder Dr. Aziah can she present or not, because the computer is having a, let me try to call Dr. Aziah, but I will put Dr. Aziah at the last speaker. So I'll move forward with Tasnim. Tasnim, are you ready? Ready, are you not? Can you hear me? Tasnim, can you hear me?
Assalamualaikum.
You can hear
Is there
me?
any sound? Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, I can hear you too. And then, are you ready to present your paper? Because I will put Dr. Aziah the last speaker.
Yes, I can do it.
Okay, thank you.
Right now?
Okay. Yeah, you can proceed
I
now.
proceed with sharing screen.
Yeah.
Share. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Tasnim binti Rahmatullah, a student in master student in Sharia and Law from Faculty of Sharia and Law, USIM, University Science Islam Malaysia. I would be presenting my article entitled Refugee in Malaysia, Issues and Importance of a Better Legal Management for Refugees. This article would come under the grant of my supervisor, which is Pengurusan Perkawinan Warga Asing Beragama Islam di Wilayah Persekutuan. It is limited in Wilayah Persekutuan, focus in permasalahan dan cadangan penyelesaian, which is problems and the recommendation.
Who is your supervisor?
My supervisor is in USIM, Dr. Rosiana.
I see. Do you have another supervisor?
Yes, we have three of them. I have three supervisors in this particular grant.
I see. Okay, all right. Go on.
So I will be proceeding. I would like to present to you an overview of my article. My writings encapsulate who are refugees first. I would like to present the worldview of refugees in international perspective and Islamic perspective, because we have different worldview and different law, and we all know that. So we have to have some background knowledge about that. And then we would move to the second part of my writing, which is the history of refugees acceptance in Malaysia. And the last would be crisis and problem arising among the refugees in Malaysia. I would briefly present to you, and I won't go so detailed into it. I am particularly in law. I don't deal with numbers or graphs or these things. So it mostly we will only have words, and I don't know how to make this more interesting to you. So please bear with me. All of these studies, all of my writings would call for a paradigm shift in the way such groups, which are refugees, are positioned and treated within the local framework of laws and policy. So first, who are refugees? We know refugees are those who flee from their own country to the other country. So under international law, refugees are persons outside their countries of origin who are in need of international protection because of a serious threat to their life, physical integrity or freedom in their country of origin as a result of persecution, armed conflict, violence, or serious public disorder. More specifically, and for the sake of clarity, individuals fleeing across borders for the following reason would be refugees according to the 1951 Convention definition. The first one, persecution for reasons of race, religion, nationality, members of a particular social group or political opinion, armed conflict, which may be rooted in and or conducted along lines of race, ethnicity, religion, politics, gender, or social groups, divides, violence perpetrated by organized gangs, traffickers, and other non-state actors against which the state is unable or unwilling to protect, persecution on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity, disasters including drought or famine, where they are linked to situation of persecution or armed conflict rooted in racial, ethnic, religious, or political divides or disproportionately affect particular groups. In Islamic perspective, the basic principle for managing refugees was stipulated by Allah SWT in Surah Al-Hajj verse 9, which means, this is the translation by Amatur Rahman Omar, and in this wealth there is also a share for those Ansar, helpers who had settled in the city of Medina and had embraced the faith before these refugees arrived there. So the Ansar are also considered as refugees. So in this situation, Allah has told the Muslimin to how we should, as a Muslim, how we should protect them and deal with them. They love those who migrated to them for refuge and who, even though poverty be their own lot, found no desire in their heart for that which is given to these refugees, but they gave them, the refugees, preference over themselves. And bear in mind that those saved from the covetousness of their souls are the ones to achieve the goal. Surah Al-Hajj, verse 9. So in this verse, there are at least 4 related principles of providing protection to people who migrate or seek protection, namely to happily welcome them and their good company, their wives or families, and so on. And then number 2 would be to have mercy on them and put them first. Number 3, to accept them fairly without looking at their rich or poor status, and then to not refuse or prevent their arrival. So this is ideally how Muslim would have to receive refugees fleeing from their country to the host country. So the Muslim states, more than any other state, should feel obliged by a sense of responsibility towards refugees needing protection. Merely claiming Islam as an all-encompassing religion and being aspirational rather than acting out through enforceable policies that does not help to portray Islam as the best solution to deliver justice to refugees today. Moral integrity is moreover highly regarded in Islam, especially to Muslims with authority. So we move to the second part, which is the history of refugees acceptance in Malaysia. From 1978 to 1990, during Vietnam War, China and Cambodia invaded Vietnam, causing a sharp uptick of refugees fleeing Vietnam. The refugees' first choice destination was often Hong Kong and the Southeast Asian countries, such as Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. And then in 1994, refugees in Malaysia increases due to political turbulence in Yugoslavia, which is in Bosnia, and most of them are Muslims. In 2015, the Rohingyas from Myanmar fled their country through ships and boats in an attempt to reach Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia. A report made by the UN stated that UN is United Nations stated that in 2014, more than 137,000 refugees from Myanmar, including 10,000 Rohingyas, were recorded as legally registered in Malaysia. In 2016, according to the Global Emergency Overview efforts in tracking this humanitarian crisis, over 40,000 UN-registered Rohingyas were recorded in the end of 2016. However, various activist groups claim that the number of unregistered Rohingyas could roughly double this number in the country. So according to historical reports from previous years, there is a strong international pressure forcing Malaysia and Indonesia to offer a place of protection for all kinds of migrants, to conduct search and rescue missions under Malaysians, and to halt the pushback policy agreed by Thailand. As a representative of an Islamic country, Malaysia decided to lend a helping hand and is ready to provide shelter to these refugees. The UNHCR is a governing body under UN, under the international law, established under the international law, which are responsible to take care of the well-being of refugees. So the UNHCR also took up the obligation to help these refugees, especially the Rohingyas, so that they can be granted refugee status in Malaysia. In addition, a small number of these migrants arrive in Malaysia as the initial place to seek protection and a temporary place to live in before they continue their journey to another destination. Some Rohingyas have tried hard to arrive at a third destination, such as Indonesia, and from there proceed onwards to Australia. So I would like to tell you that Malaysia is not a host country to receiving refugees, but they are the transit country where refugees come, and then before they could be placed in the third country. So while they are being in Malaysia 20-30 years, how are they being treated, and how these society are being not being neglected or not being ill-treated by our community? This is the research about that generally. So then I would go to crisis and problem arising among the refugees in Malaysia. First, the Malaysia government basically does not give legal recognition to refugees, as it is not among the member states that signed the Convention on Status Refugees 1951 as well as the 1967 protocol. So Malaysia is not a signatory to the international law, so it is not binding to any of a law regarding refugees internationally, but because it is receiving refugees, it must have some framework, a legal framework to coordinate or manage these refugees in Malaysia. So the next problem would be, without a proper legal framework that recognizes their status as refugees in Malaysia, asylum seekers and refugees like the Rohingyas are considered as illegal immigrants, pendatang asing tanpa izin parti, due to their largely illegitimate way of entering Malaysia. So this is one of the problems where people can't differentiate between the refugees, as they are not recognized by their status as refugees. They are considered as parti, but they are not. They are entitled for protection, and they must be accepted with their condition that needs protection. So the uncertainty of the status of these Rohingya refugees in turn led to ambiguity in their rights concerning other aspects involving the formal education of refugees' children, access to healthcare, limited employment and high rates of unemployment, the marital status of refugees, this is a major problem, marital status, and the registration of their children born in this country. Other issues faced by refugees relate to security, settlement, and so on. So next would be refugees are often brought into detention through arrests made by the Department of Immigration, Malaysian Police, paramilitary civil police, or volunteer organizations. Human trafficking crimes were detected between refugees at the Malaysian-Thai border. Refugees who have been deported were expelled from the state's border with no means for them to safely reach their home country, which is located hundreds and thousands of kilometers away. Refugees often have a well-founded fear of finding themselves in danger if they comply to the deportation order to their home country. As a result, they would choose to stay in Malaysia, which is safer compared to the other options. Children who grew up undocumented cannot have access to reasonable healthcare and education in the host country. The injustice is more clearly noted when these children born out of wedlock are in fact the offspring of Malaysian citizens who married undocumented migrant women or married a non-citizen. Taking this into consideration, another underground issue lingering within the community of refugees and asylum seekers is the unregulated marriage and the lack of knowledge or awareness of marriage procedures according to the local laws. So as I have presented the crises and problems, now I would like to show some recommendation that we could discuss. Maybe it is understandable for Malaysia to enforce an immigration act which provides severe punishment to illegal migrants who enters Malaysia without legal permission. However, that there is an exemption on humanitarian ground that should be revised so that the rights of refugees and asylum seekers are protected and their fundamental rights not violated. The major flaw of Malaysia's current ad hoc refugee policy is that the government is trying to deny existing problems related to asylum seekers and refugees. So this paper presents the pattern of refugee treatment in Malaysia from a historical, religious, social, and legal context. This study strongly suggests that Malaysia officially recognizes the presence of refugees within its territory by regulating the group and facilitating their enjoyment of their rights. By not recognizing the rights of refugees, such as their right to education, the direct consequences of the lack of access to basic education may result in illiteracy and other social problems, which Malaysia will have to face in the long run. So thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Thank you, Tasnim. It is also an interesting subject to share. Very interesting, to be exact. But on the other side of the coin, why Malaysia has not been accommodating, so-called, to recognize this illegal immigrant as a refugees? Do you know why Malaysia actually is not keen? You know,
yes.
we have this social responsibility as a Muslim country. We have to help our fellow Muslims, but yet the country is reluctant, so-called, quote unquote, to accept them as a refugees, and we are not binded by any law, right? So there is no treaty 1951 we did not sign, and then there's another also agreement protocol in, I don't remember what year is that, we did not sign either. So actually we are not bounded by any law actually to accept them as refugees. So we agree that we become the transit country.
Yes.
But transit country, we know that many of them already in the country for more than 10 years. Okay, that doesn't sound like a transit country. That sounds like
not 10 years. It's more than that. 50 years. Sometimes the generation of their generation is here.
Yeah,
so we must
all the social issue that comes with it. You know, children, and then right to basic amenities, right to education, health, and many other things, job opportunities. They are people. They need to find job. They have to feed their children, wife, and so on. So,
One of the reason why Malaysia doesn't recognize these refugees is because before this it's not so significant. Maybe their presence is not so significant, and we can manage them without having any legal framework or whatsoever. But now it's getting so, there are so many of them, and they are everywhere, and we must, because we are the host country, so we have some portion of the responsibility to take care of them the proper way, or they will get out of hand. We cannot control them anymore. And there are crimes among them. There are crimes, and one of the reason why Malaysia doesn't recognize them is also about because of our security. I'm not proposing so that Malaysia can recognize them as Malaysian. No, just as refugees who need help and protection, and cannot be treated like illegal immigrants who made a crime. They are not making any crimes. Refugees. Yeah.
I wonder, you know, this is just sharing of thought, yeah. If even us country as a Malaysia as a country does not accept them as one of our citizens, you know, what do we expect other countries to accept them as one of their citizens? Yeah, everybody has the same problem, you know. Malaysia does not accept. What do we expect Singapore to accept them, or Indonesia to accept them, for that matter, or Australia to accept them? Okay. So I feel sorry for them. Actually, they are in such a dire situation. They are homeless. They are stateless, so-called. They are somewhere in between without any significant belonging. In the sense of belonging, isn't
at the very basic. We must recognize them as human beings. Recognizing them as human being means they have rights, they have their freedom. To some extent that we can control, we can make, maybe propose framework, a legal framework to just coordinate or manage them, control them, and let them have their freedom to some extent. That doesn't, it's not the same as we Malaysian citizens, but yeah, they must leave. They must go on with their
Understand. I like to bring also to our attention here our experience with dealing the refugees from Vietnam way back in the 70s last time. I'm not sure Tasnim was not even born there, you know. Many of you, but probably Dr. Haizer probably can relate the experience that how we deal with Vietnamese refugees. So there are so many of them. They drifted in the sea. So out of humanitarian factor, we picked them up, and then the government actually locate them in an island called Pulau Bidong Island off the Terengganu coast. Yeah.
So long ago.
Yeah, so long ago, in the 70s. That is 40 years ago, 45 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but eventually, each and every one of them were migrated or went to the third country.
Relocated to the third
country. Eventually, many of them, hundreds of them, 100,000 of them. So many years that they spend their time in that particular island. So they become like their kampung and the family. They marry each other, you know. They find job as a fisherman, and then they raise livestock there and everything. Okay. So I'm not sure how the government want to handle this this particular Rohingya refugees, so-called, you know. If they can do like what they did, like the Vietnamese refugees last time, I'm not sure I'm very sure they have thought about it. very sure. The point is the third world or the third country, the final destination. There must be somebody who will accept them. Yeah.
Yes.
That is the most important thing. Okay. Any other feedback, so-called, or any point to discuss about refugees?
I can give an opinion regarding to the mentioned issue.
Very
If I,
welcome.
yeah, well, I would like to reflect my experience when I did my PhD back then, looking at the most diverse states. Not states, it's basically a city in the USA. Dallas is one of the most diverse cities in the world. You will be able to see, you know, the integration of different ethnicities, peoples from different countries. From here, you have refugees, Palestine, those Indonesian, almost every country in the world, you will be able to meet them in Dallas. Well, looking at the efforts, I think one of the stringent factors that you know become a struggle in our country is because of the lack of resources. And of course, when we deal with refugees in Malaysia, we have doubt on how should we entertain them and what would be the betterment for the future of this group of people. And I think we come to understand that in Islamic perspective, that when you have a diverse group of people, even you get into a married life, it's better for you to find someone very far from you in terms of the descendants and so you know different factors. Then you will have a very good, maybe perhaps inheritance, you know, daughter and son maybe become more smarter. Yes.
Smarter offspring, so called. That's why
Yes,
Islam
yes.
actually encourage intermarriage, interracial marriage as well.
Yes.
So
That's why
so Wang Daidi must marry a Malay, for instance.
Yeah, I would like to perhaps share with all of you, most of the professionals who are working as the doctors, who are working as the professional lawyers, and even if you able to watch some of the series in the US, you know, some of the interesting series movies, you can see that the diversity takes place in terms of the backgrounds of the actors. So when you have a diverse group of people in your country, definitely it will flourish and enrich the countries in terms of the properties, knowledge sharing, those kind of important. I think that will be the benefits of having diverse groups of people in one country. But you know, comparing like orange and apple, you know, Malaysian and the USA, of course they have a lot of resources, and they are also one of the prominent figures in UNHCR. And we are talking about Malaysia over here. It's like comparing durian and oranges, so it's not going to work to some extent. But believe me, we have the effort, and I perhaps agree with Tasnim Research and the fellow research members. Very, very important. I used to develop a proposal regarding on developing a harmonious ecosystem for between Malaysia and those illegal immigrants in Malaysia. But this is coming back to the politics issue. But I think looking at your research, what I can suggest in terms of what can I suggest in terms of the technicalities of reporting such findings, perhaps you can explore on this systematic literature review writing styles by adopting Prisma, where in these types of research, you will be able to explore different countries' perspective on how they entertain refugees in their countries, and looking at the trends on perceiving and giving some accommodations to this group of people. So you may explore that, and then you will have better structure of article. Instead of having like a layout types of information, you can somehow comparing and contrasting different policies, different practices coming from different countries. So I wish you all the best, Tasnim, and the rest of the team members looking at the solution for these complex issues in Malaysia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kazir. But Tasnim need not worry actually, because you are doing research. Okay, so you just research and find out more information and add to your paper. That's all you need. And but you also have the FRGSS board to present. So it is fair actually that you may want to add additional information that is or that are relevant to this research. Of course, it can be improved further, definitely. You can discuss that with your supervisor and your co-authors as well, okay? Any other, because I tried to reach Dr. Azia. She did not respond, unfortunately. I also sent a WhatsApp message to her. She did not respond also, unfortunately. So I guess we are coming to the end of our virtual conference. Now we come to a question and answer session, okay? So we'll cover back from the first presenter, Alifa, and then the final presenter, the last one, Tasnim. So is there a lot of you in between? Is there any point specifically that you like to raise? Anything that you like to ask me if you are not sure? Moving forward from now on and so on. If you want to change your paper, yes, go on, Ms. Wong.
Yeah, Dr. Safai, can I ask two questions to Ms. Tasni?
Sure.
Okay, so Ms. Tasni, I just wondering, okay, first, pedatang asing tanpa izin, right? So a lot of Indonesians come to Sarawak and Sabah and a lot lah, and then they come here, stay for 10 years, 20 years, and then can they get an IC and out of Malaysia? And then number two, I want to ask, just now you say the temporary place. Where is the temporary place for them to stay? Is it a hotel or where is it? Yeah, I just want to know how Malaysia will treat all the pedatang asing. Is it straight away send back or live in hotel for some time or how? Yeah, I just wondering. Yeah, this one.
Do you have any information, Tasnim?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one, you're asking if can you give IC to those coming from Indonesia that stay in Sabah and Sarawak for a while and then going there. Of course you can't. Malaysia is not that generous. You can't have IC. They if they are coming from other states, they must have their origin first. If they don't have their origin, then they can be either illegal immigrants or they come to work under, they have their card if they come under the working community. And then if they are refugee, they will be they will be managed by UNHCR. UNHCR has card for the refugees, but illegal immigrants is illegal. You can't have IC for these people. They are not Malaysian citizens. They are different categories of people. These people are categorized as non-Malaysian, non-citizens.
Oh, how about if the husband is from Indonesia but the wife is from Malaysia?
Intermarriage. Yes.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
There is intermarriage between Malaysian men and non-citizen woman. Then if the woman is from other country but not party, from other country, maybe refugees, they can adopt the Malaysian citizenship for their children. There is a procedure for that.
But if it is party, if the woman is party, then what happens?
If the woman is party, then the procedure is very, very difficult, where kena deal dengan duta negara asal tu.
Okay.
And get their origin, lepas tu dapatkan dapatkan pengesahan daripada negara sendiri.
Okay.
And then baru boleh you go through that process, that difficult process, and then you have the needed documents, then you can get, if you are married to a citizen in Malaysia.
But so that means technically it can be done, except that it is a longer process, a longer route actually for you to get there. Okay, so it is possible unless the law state otherwise. No. The law state no, then it is no. Okay. like giving a red IC for Indonesian coming from Kalimantan through the border to Sabah and Sarawak, you know, and they also participate in the voting in the pilihan raya umum. That is not right. Actually, that is not allowed by law. But then they hold the IC. How they come with it, I don't know. You may need to do a little.
Yes.
A little.
Some people don't even know how to speak in Malay, but they have
Exactly.
ICs,
Exactly.
Malaysian citizen. Like,
but that happened.
Not.
And
it happens.
It's quite obvious in Sabah and Sarawak.
Yes.
Okay.
But legally, it is not possible. There must be something wrong there. Something happened.
Yeah.
Legally, it is not. It's not right legally.
Alifa, are you from Indonesia? Can you?
Yeah,
Yes, you are. Which part of Indonesia are you from?
Yeah, Doctor.
Which part of Indonesia are you from?
I'm from West Java.
West Java, right. Do you have issue like you know, illegal immigrant in Indonesia like us?
I heard several immigrants of Indonesia, but not much.
Not much.
Yeah.
So I think the Indonesian are doing handling the situation better than Malaysian. You know, they didn't even allow refugees to land. They stopped
Maybe
them
or
in the middle of the sea and you know, send them back. You know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe the problem is not so obvious in Indonesia. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then the second question, can you repeat it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just want to ask if the police caught the Petatan Asing Tapa Izin,
Yes.
where is the temporary place that you mentioned?
You caught people that there is no hotel or place. You caught people. There is a detention center. You go into detention center. You would be placed there, and then for there is some bodies that are responsible to take care of them, and it's like you are getting detained. So you're not free. It's like you are so restricted movement, and the place is like not so good for pendatang asing tanpa izin.
It's like a prison, but
right?
it is not exactly like prison. They probably cannot move around freely just like anyone else. But eventually they will be deported, like somehow. Will that be correct?
They will be released, but with certain condition, or maybe not. They can't be free as always.
I see.
Like, if you want to know detail about this, you can go to Immigration Act and see the procedure, how they treat this.
Yeah.
Because it is all in the Immigration Act. It is so detailed there.
We ask you because
sorry, I don't have enough
information.
Yes, I know. You can have the general concept of how they are.
Okay, sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, then we are coming to the end of our virtual conference. So first and foremost, I would like to thank you all for joining this virtual conference. It has been a lively and vibrant discussion that we have. We have a myriad and subjects actually. You know, from refugees, illegal immigrant, right through kelapa laut, and then we talk about tourism index, you know. We talk about disability, people with disability, and then Amizan also spoke about what just now? Yes, Amizan spoke about the marketing strategies for women in B40 group. Okay, so that kind of expansive subject that we are talking about. So as we in the academic area are not the potential for research is actually limitless. indefinite, infinite. There's a lot of areas, or the typical term that we use is the research gaps. Okay, that we can actually develop research papers and expand on it. So thank you very much for sharing with me. Thank you very much also for the feedback and input from everybody. So I hope this is not the end of it. I hope we cross path again in the future in a similar setting or different setting. If you bump into me, you recognize me, please say hello to me. I will definitely say hello back to you. Okay. Anyway, okay, whether it is in the toilet or probably the worst place to meet, in a bus stand or probably in cafeteria or restaurant, anyway, or in the conference for that matter. I know that Dr. Kaiser is in Langkawi now, right, Doctor?
Well, yes, I am.
Unfortunately, I cannot
earlier.
join. I've canceled all my travel arrangement, also my team, because it will be not economical for us to go there and then we have our virtual conference there. You know, we're not having the right.
Totally understand.
So
no worries. Totally understand.
I'm hosting this from my convenience of my home actually. Okay. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Miss Wong Daidi. Thank you, Dr. Kaiser. Thank you, Tasnim. Thank you, Alifa. Okay. And thank you, Amizan. I wish you all the best in all your future undertaking. For those who are doing PhD, I hope you graduated well. Who's doing a master and so on, Tasnim, I hope you get on with your project well and finish that ahead of the time. Okay, so everybody must graduate on time, GOT. Or graduate ahead of time, GOAT. Okay, that is even better. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah, and a good evening to everybody. Take care. Goodbye.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Okay, thank you.